Hello friends, my name is McKenna and welcome to Knit Between the Lines, a knitting podcast. This is a podcast where I talk about what I'm spinning, what I'm knitting on, and where I chat about my love for fiber arts. So grab whatever project you're working on and let's get into it. Okay, so for my first work in progress, we have the Pressed Flowers cardigan by Amy Christoffers from Savory Knits. And I'm still chugging along on it for the most part, but I have made some decent progress since I've last talked to you guys. I decided to add a little stitch marker here to really show my progress from last week. So that little gummy bear down there is where I left off with you guys last week. So I've gotten quite a bit of progress, which is super exciting. And you can really see the color progression starting to do its thing. So down at the bottom, we started with this really pretty, more like cerulean blue, and went into a navy, and then into a really nice purple, into yellows and oranges. We kind of went into a red purple from there, and now we're back into the blue, which is honestly my favorite part. So it's super exciting to kind of see the color progression as I'm working on this, and it's definitely a motivator to kind of keep working on it. I'm at about 9 inches of the body right now, and I don't know if it's specifically for my size or if it's universal across all sizes, but it does want you to knit about 12 inches of the body, 12 inches or 12.5 inches of the body, and then you split for the front and the back. I'm super excited about that. So I'm kind of planning out which skein of the straw flowers dyed in the wool that I'm using for each part. I'm kind of saving these two more muted skeins for the sleeves, so they'll kind of match and have the same vibe. And I'm using the slightly more saturated, more bright skeins for the body, since I had 4 of those and only 2 of the more muted ones. So it kind of made sense for the most part to do it that way. But I'm super excited about this. And it's super exciting because now I actually can use this project for 3 different knit-alongs that are happening right now. So we have the Year of the Cardigan by Cece from Stitch Witch. We have the Young Folk Knits Mosaic Mayhem make-along that is starting technically in September, but she did say WIPs were allowed. And this is definitely gonna take me quite a while because it's mosaic knitting. I'm definitely not gonna make it by the end of the month or finish it by the end of the month, so I'm not really worried about that. And she did say WIPs were welcome, so I'm excited to kind of use this project to interact with more people as well in those 2 make-alongs. And this also counts for the Sacred Sheep knit-along that's happening for the Sacred Sheep Fiber Festival in Portland in November. They just posted about this past week, where all you have to do is knit something that you want to wear at the festival using a vendor's yarn or pattern. Spincycle is in fact a vendor for Sacred Sheep, so that counts for this also. So this is kind of like a triple dip project, which is super exciting. I really enjoy make-alongs. I love the community aspect of it. I also like to see everyone else's projects that they're using for the make-alongs as well. I'm not really in it for the prizes. Prizes are cool, but that's not why we're here. So I love being a part of different communities and meeting new people through knit-alongs. Okay, so my next work in progress is still the Yarzy. We love that I can't talk today. I think I'm talking too fast, so I need to slow down. My next work in progress is the Yarn Cozy Lite by Natalie. I'm still working on that set of cozies using the Cozy Cauldron Fiber Co. sock yarn, Headless Horseman. And I don't have one actually cast on at the moment because I just finished the second 100 gram one that I'll show you next, coming soon. I think I'm gonna cast on a 50 gram and then I'm gonna decide whether or not I wanna do another 50 gram or if I wanna do a 10 gram based on the amount of yarn I have left, because we are starting to get down a little bit. There's still a decent amount left and you don't need a lot of yarn to make these cozies. So I think we'll be fine, but I am super excited about it still. I just got focused on some other stuff, so I haven't casted on my next one yet. So nothing to show you as a work in progress for right now for that project, but I'm sure I'll have one for next week. And my next work in progress is actually a brand new cast on. It's yarn that I've had in my stash for a little bit. It is actually the Cozy Comfort Throw by a Homespun house using the 2023 Irish Christmas Advent from Irish Artisan Yarns from last year. I bought the Advent and I didn't really have a project in mind for it at the time because I really wanted to see kind of what the yarn was doing. And then the yarn was so beautiful, I didn't know if I really wanted to use it in the Cozy Comfort Throw. But ultimately I decided, you know, I don't really have another project or pattern in mind for this, and it would be a really lovely blanket to kind of have out on our sofa. Spincycle baby. Oh my goodness. Spincycle girl. Okie dokie. So here's what I have so far. It's not much. I'm through the first color of the Advent and I'm into the second color. This Advent is definitely more of a fade, so it's not gonna have those characteristic chunks of stripes like you see in Molly's sample for her pattern on Ravelry and what you'll see in a lot of other projects for this pattern. But I kind of really like it. I really love the vibe, especially because this Advent has more of a coastal kind of vibe to it. It's a very blue and green leaning with some purples in there as well. It's gorgeous and they're all pretty much like variegated skeins. So here's what I have so far. Sorry, I had to get it to focus. There you go. So down here was the first color, which was Coast. It was called Coast. And it was a very beautiful, like typical, like blue, green, tealy color. Right down here. And I think technically in the pattern it says to do 7 garter ridges, which is 14 rows because this is a garter stitch blanket. Because of the cast on, it does eat up quite a bit of the yarn. So I only have about like 6.5 garter ridges on here. So instead of just leaving the extra bit at the end, I'm just using up the whole mini skein. So it's gonna kind of like blend into each other. So about halfway through the 7th garter ridge, I added in the second color, which is this more like, it's these 2 rows that are more of a green color. Here is the little ball of yarn. I decided just to do little balls because I didn't want to have to get out my Swift every single time I wanted to skein up a new color. But isn't it beautiful? This one is definitely more green leaning, but you can kind of see all the little like variegations in it. And I'm holding it together with the Knit Pick Stroll, but I just got the bare base, no color added off the website because it was cheaper and I wanted just a neutral color. And I think I got like 4 or 5 of them to hold with my mini skeins throughout the blanket. I was worried that holding it with the white, you would kind of lose some of the variegation of the yarn. And you do a little bit, but not much. You can definitely still see the differences in color. And I think this is just gonna be a super lovely blanket to kind of have out on our sofa and to use. Sorry, my cat is playing with a toy. I think she's got the zoomies. Anyway, I was worried that the variegation was gonna get lost holding it together with this white color, but I still think you can see it, and I kind of love the gentle fade that's happening. I think it's gonna be an absolutely lovely just throw blanket to have out on our sofa for people to use, and I think it'll be a really nice cozy like little lap blanket. The Advent also came with a 100-gram skein that I plan to use for the I-cord border. The I-cord border technically in the pattern has you use the last mini skein, but I'm just gonna use the 100-gram skein that I have. I think that'll look nice. It's like a neutral, darker gray. I think it'll look pretty. Plus, I wanna use up all of the minis in the actual blanket itself because I'm trying to get it as large as possible. I actually did cast on a few more stitches. I believe it says 215 stitches. I did 250, mostly because in the pattern she said if you plan on using magic knot to join your skeins together, you can do about almost 8 garter ridges, which is 2 additional rows of knitting. So I was like, well, if I have enough yarn to technically do 2 additional rows almost, if I wanted to, I would rather just make it a little bit wider of a blanket. So I did 250 stitches instead. But that also might end up making it a weird size, but who knows? It's not that deep. Personally, it's just gonna be a cute little fun blanket to knit. And this is gonna just be like a mindless project that I can pull out when I don't wanna work on my cardigan. And I want something a little thoughtless just to watch TV with. So super excited about it. It's super cozy and super soft, so it's gonna be super fun to see the fade progression as I work on this project. Okay, so now for finished objects. The first one I wanna share with you guys was a work in progress the last 2 podcasts, but I finally sat down and just committed to the project because I was so close to being finished, and I know Cameron was super excited about it. So these are the Helical Twins by Karin Fernandez, which is a pattern I purchased from Beautiful Knitter based in London. These turned out really good. You can definitely tell the change in gauge from this one, which was the first one I casted on like over a year ago, and then this one that I worked on recently, because you can kind of tell by like the slope of the palm here, This one starts all the way down here, whereas this one starts more here, and it's more gradual, so you can definitely tell my gauge tightened up for this one versus this one. But they're just hand warmers, and they're meant to be kind of slouchy and loose around your wrists anyway. One of the things that I actually did was I switched which color was A and B for the second hand warmer, just to add some fun to it. So if you look at this one, color A was the black, so you can see it at the ridge up at the top and the ridge down at the bottom. And then for the second one, I did the gray as color A. You can see the ridges, and it's so funny because, you know, color theory and the way that garter stitch works. I feel like this one looks a little bit lighter than this one, just because of the way that the stitches are formed. So in this one, the gray is like the hump of the garter stitch, and the black is like the underneath one that's kind of like tucked into that one. Whereas this one, it's reversed. So I feel like the black is way more prominent on this one, whereas the gray is way more prominent on this one. When they're side by side together on the camera, you can't super tell, but I definitely can see it in person, and I think that's just super cool how which color you choose for color A and color B can kind of change how it looks in person. But he's super excited to wear these, and I think these are gonna be like a permanent part of his fall and winter wardrobe, so yay. Okay, so my next finished object is what I mentioned earlier, which is my second 100 gram Yarn Cozy Lite. This is the one that's gonna have the black I-cord, which, as you can tell, like I said last time, that it kind of doesn't have a lot of contrast compared to the main color of the yarn. So it's kind of hard to differentiate it a little bit. There we go. This yarn is so dark, it's kind of hard to see sometimes. But yeah, there's the black I-cord. Definitely matches a lot more with the yarn, so it doesn't stand out as much as my previous one, but I still think it looks really great. So here's this one, and then here's my other one that I finished a little bit ago. I think these are gonna be a cute little set to use, especially if I'm alternating skeins in a project. So super excited about these, and I can't wait for the 50 gram and 20 gram cozies to go with these. I think it'll be really cute as a little set. So super exciting. Okay, so now on to spinning. So for works in progress, I still have the Gotland and the Rambouillet plied up on those bobbins that I showed you last week. I still haven't purchased the Nitty Naughty that I need to get those skeined up in like nice, decent sized skeins, so I don't have a bunch of like mini skeins. So that's gonna be kind of my project the next couple days, is to finally purchase the one that I've been looking at and get that skeined up so I can get my bobbins back, so I can start spinning on all of the fiber that I showed you guys last week that I got from Flock and purchased independently from the Fiber Festival. Not much to show you on that end, but I did ply up the oatmeal colored BFL that I showed you guys last week. I think I only showed you guys a little bit of a single that I had. I kind of went on a rampage the other night and just like duped it out. So here she is. I think it looks super lovely. I think I was having a lot more trouble with consistency with the BFL because I was used to how smoothly the Rambouillet was spinning. But once I applied it, I think it looks great. You can definitely tell it has a little bit more of a halo compared to the Rambouillet, but I think this looks so good. Okay, so I did the wraps per inch on this, and it's hitting at about 9 or 10, which is like either a worsted or like worsted leaning DK, which is kind of what I was aiming for. I was wanting more of the DK side, but it is kind of thicker in areas. So I'm kind of gonna say that it's like DK worsted, kind of floating in between the two of them. So it does hit about the same as the Rambouillet that I spun up last time, so that's good because I'm planning on using them together to make a cowl, hopefully. So super exciting. And then all I have left regarding non-dyed fiber is the Kent Romney that I purchased from Northwest Yarn Co., as well as some Shiniko Tweedy wool that I purchased from Rhinebeck last year, which I'm kind of waiting to spin that because it feels so precious to me for some reason, so I don't want to spin it yet. But it'll be super exciting the day that I feel like I'm confident enough in spinning to kind of touch that and start spinning with it. So Super exciting. And as of right now, I don't have any finished objects for spinning, so I don't have anything to show for that, but hopefully by next week I'll have gotten my nitty knotty so I can skein up this BFL, the Rambouillet, and the Gotland and have those as finished up, wound up skeins to show you guys. All right, acquisition time. So I don't have much to show you guys for acquisitions. I don't have any new yarn since I just bought a whole bunch from Flock, but I did get some fiber in the mail. I know I showed you guys a lot of fiber last week. This is gonna be the last of fiber purchases for a while because I need to kind of spin through my stash and I need to knit through my stash because we are mindful in this house. Very demure, very mindful. So the first one I wanna show you is one that I kind of forgot that I ordered because I ordered it when I first got my wheel and I was super excited about spinning and I wanted some dyed fiber. It just took a little bit to get to me because it was technically a pre-order. Both of these sets of fibers that I'm going to show you are from Adrienne at Hello Yarn, which I believe she is based in Massachusetts. So I love her colors and I love her dye style, so I'm super excited to spin these up. The first one I want to show you is this one here. This is a 6-ounce bag of fiber. This is her Fireside coordinating pack. Essentially what a coordinating pack is with Adrienne is she comes out with her monthly fiber club and it's a typical multicolored dyed braid of wool, and then she comes out with these coordinating packs, which essentially is like 1-ounce bumps of each color present in that braided fiber. So we have 6 1-ounce bumps in here. We have this like orangey yellow, and then we have this like burgundy color into this purple, into this like tealy color down here, into an even darker purple down here. So I wanted to get the original braid that she came out for the Fiber Club, but I'm pretty sure those are exclusive to the Fiber Club and they only reopen for purchasing for people that are in the Fiber Club to purchase if they need extras. So, but I love the color palette of this so much that I just purchased the coordinating pack. I don't know how I'm gonna spin this yet. My original thought was to play with self-striping to use for like a colorwork yoke or maybe some socks. I don't think I'm gonna do socks because this has no nylon or silk or anything to strengthen it in order for them to last. Or maybe I will and maybe hold it with like a mohair or a like nylon thread just to give it some strength in the heel and the toe. I haven't really decided yet because I kind of think this would be fun to use for like to learn how to chain ply potentially, but I don't know, you guys. I could also try to do like a fractal spin with this as well, but I don't really know. If you have any ideas, please let me know. Drop them down in the comments. If you have any ideas on projects to use for it or any advice on how to spin it, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm just like super excited about these colors. Okay, so this next one is Dreaming by Firelight, also by Adrienne from Hello Yarn. This is actually the Tour de Fleece exclusive colorway for Flannel Purls and Tangles and Starlight's team for Tour de Fleece, which was Camp Wool Again. I'm a part of Chris's Patreon and Discord, and I had the option of joining his team for Tour de Fleece, but unfortunately at the time I didn't have my wheel, and as I have mentioned previously, was not about to spindle spin, but I really loved this colorway, but I couldn't justify purchasing it because I wasn't gonna do anything with it. Of course, I ended up buying my wheel with like 3 days left of Tour de Fleece. I was like, dang, I really missed out on that colorway, which I loved and would have been so fun to spin with. So I actually reached out to Chris and I was like, hey, I don't know if Adrienne has any extras of the Dreaming by Firelight colorway, but I just got my wheel and I would really love to purchase some and spin with it if possible. So he actually reached out to Adrienne and she had 3 left of her Corriedale base and her BFL base and was able to send me an order screen, and I got to order a bump of it, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna have what's left up for his Patreon potentially, which is super exciting. So I was able to snag one and I can't wait to spin this up. It has a very similar colors as the Fireside, but we have this really pretty blue in here, because I think it's supposed to mimic like the sun setting while you're at a bonfire with your friends, and I love the ambiance and the feeling of that. And I love that Adrienne doesn't braid her fiber. She kind of just like snakes them into the bag so you don't have to worry about it kind of like clamping up or felting as much, which is super nice. This I do plan to do a fractal spin with, and I think this would be the prettiest traveler's cowl. Someone in the Discord actually did do a traveler's cowl with their Dreaming by Firelight, and it was so beautiful. So I'm probably just gonna steal their idea. So I'm super excited, and I think it's gonna look gorgeous. All right, now on to some life stuff. So I don't have much to talk about regarding what's going on in my life right now. I am really excited because my mom is actually coming to visit me and Karin in Portland this coming weekend. Normally she comes out and visits us for my birthday, which is in September, but due to some scheduling conflicts at her job, she's coming out a little bit earlier at the end of August. The farthest west she's ever been is actually Las Vegas, Nevada. She does take a trip with her and her girlfriends like once every few years just to have a girls trip and take a vacation and spend time with each other, especially because they don't all live in the same place anymore. So I'm really excited for her to venture out a little farther west and come to Oregon. At the time of you guys watching this, we are, fingers crossed, hopefully going to be at Cannon Beach on the coast if weather permits. We unfortunately do have a slight chance of rain on Friday and Saturday, but hopefully we'll be fine. I did warn her to bring an umbrella, so hopefully we won't have to use it, but we'll have it if we need it. If it does rain, she'll just be getting the perfect Pacific Northwest welcome. As far as what I'm reading right now, I am still currently reading Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross, which is the second book to Divine Rivals. I am about like, I want to say like 30 to 40% of the way through. I'm reading it on my Kindle, and guys, I am sucked in. I was a little worried at first. I was like, oh, like it wasn't really pulling me in. I wasn't really reading it. And then I got to a certain part where some people are reunited, and I was like, sucked in, crazy worried about all of the tension and stress of the situation of them being reunited. So, spoilers, sorry. I'm in it. So I'm probably gonna be finishing it within the next couple days, hopefully. And for what I am watching, Cameron and I are still binging Dexter right now. I believe we are about to finish season 5. I think there's 7 or 8 seasons of Dexter, so we still have quite a bit to go, which is good. We do like to pick shows that have a decent amount of seasons, so it takes us a while to get through, because or else we'll blow through it and then we'll have nothing to watch. Besides Dexter, I actually started watching Mindhunter on Netflix with Jonathan Groff, and it is really good. I didn't really know what it was about, and essentially it feels like the prerequisite to Criminal Minds. They're not related at all. There's no common characters, there's no common plot really or anything. They're completely separate from one another, but essentially Mindhunter is like the beginnings of the BAU. They are starting the department, and they're doing it in a sense of research. They're going to the different serial killers and asking them questions and getting into their psychology of why they did what they did, what was their upbringing, what was their thought process, how did they feel, that kind of thing. And they're using that to create the basis of behavioral science, which is super, super cool. So I've definitely been blowing through that. Unfortunately, there's only 2 seasons, and I don't think they're going to be making more. It aired on Netflix in 2019, and there's only 2 seasons, so I don't think they're gonna make more. Jonathan Groff has now gone and done more things on Broadway. He actually is the one who plays King George in the original Hamilton cast, and he just did a musical with Daniel Radcliffe that I believe won an award. So I think he's leaning more towards the musical theater Broadway side of things these days, so I don't foresee Mindhunter getting any more seasons, which is super unfortunate. But I am really enjoying it, so I'm super excited to see what they do. I'm really close to the end of season 1, so curious to see what they do for season 2. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. It was a shorter episode since I didn't have as much for WIPs and FOs this time, but that means we have progress on clearing out our WIP graveyard, which is super exciting. If you like this video and you want to stick around for more, please like and subscribe and hit that bell icon to get any notifications for when I post new videos. Thank you for stopping at my little crafty corner of YouTube and sharing your time with me. See you next time. Bye.